Okay, so here we go. As you can see, I like to be organized. So we have a little tub here with everything we're gonna need. Got my strainer, my wort cooler, my giant spoon, have my aeration oxygen tank, some of my mesh bags. I have my blow-off tubing. And then over here, we have our Star San, which is our sanitizer. We'll be using that in a minute. Extract, all of the grains and hops and yeast laid out in the order which I will need them. Over here we have 6 gallons of natural spring water. We're going to be boiling that in a minute. We have our vessels, and then over here we have our brew pot attached to the burner in the propane tank, and that cooler over there is going to be used for the Star San sanitation. Keep it right next to the burner so it's easy to get to, and that'll make sure everything stays clean. Alright, so we're going to make our sanitizer with our Star San sanitizing solution. It has a nice little measuring cup here. We have our 10-gallon cooler, but I've got it about half full, so that's about 5 gallons, and according to the directions you need 1 ounce for every 5 gallons. So we're going to pour in 2 of these little half-ounce measuring cups. There's 1 ounce, and we'll refill it. And there's the other half ounce. I'm going to give it just a little bit more because I think I was short on that last one. And there we go. I'm going to stir it up with our spoon. And now we're going to let that sit. Alright, so for this recipe we need a total of 5 gallons of water. I actually have 6 gallons, and I'm going to boil a little more than half of it now. So when I'm actually making the wort, I'm only going to be using 2 gallons. So I'm going to put the rest of it in this pot and pre-boil it to make sure that it's sanitary, and we'll store it in the fermentation vessel. Okay, so now I've got all the water in the pot, and we're going to boil this and let it become sanitary, and then we're going to store it in one of our fermentation vessels. We'll use it later on in the process. Alright, so we're just waiting for the water to boil. Jesse joined me.
Yeah. Hey.
And we got our nifty directions for making knockoff. And I got another set of directions over here thanks to Sam for making it easy. So we're going to follow Sam's directions and the directions from Brewer's Connection. See you in a little while. Alright, so we're ready to start brewing. We're going to heat our water. We're making an IPA. IPA. Yeah. So we're going to heat our water to 160 degrees, add some brew salts, and get going. So I'm going to sanitize my scissors.
Sanitize everything. Everything gets sanitized. Where else?
And I'm going to cut the bag open here. Set that aside for a sec. I've got my 2.5 gallons of water. Okay, now we're going to add our brew salts. So let me sterilize my spoon here.
This will be beer.
Hold the spoon. Thank you. All right, dump in the salts. Stir.
We'll see you in a little bit.
Okay, so we're getting our grains ready. We're going to put them in the bag so that when the water's at 160, we'll be able to steep them. All right, so our grains are in the bag. We're going to tie it off.
Not hop.
Not hop. All right, our grains have been steeping for 20 minutes, so we're going to take them out and strain them. And then we have a couple cups of hot water. I'm going to pour it over the grains.
Pour it over the grains.
Pour it over the grains.
No.
All right, so we're finished draining the bag.
Do not squeeze the grains.
So now we can just get rid of that garbage. Put this back in our sanitizer. And then, now with the heat off, we're going to stir in both bags of our extract.
Extract.
Go ahead. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Okay, so we've got all of our extract stirred in. Jesse's lighting the burner now.
Lighting the burner.
And now we're gonna wait until this boils, and it's gonna be a 60-minute boil. So once this starts boiling, we'll start adding all of our hop pellets and start making the beer. Okay, so our Simcoe hops has been boiling for 20 minutes. It's now time to add a ½ ounce of Chinook. So we are going to get a nice clean spoon. This is going to take the lid off.
Taking the lid off. This is a
½
lid.
ounce of Chinook hops.
Lid.
Just give it a little stir here. Lid goes back on, and we'll see you in another 20 minutes.
Not hop.
Okay, so we've been boiling for 40 minutes. We're about ready to add our last type of hops, which is our Centennial hops. No, we're not. We still have 2 types of hops. We're going to add our Centennial hops right now. So we have a ½ ounce of Centennial. Take the lid off.
Lid.
We're going to put that into our boiling pot. Give it a little
Dan,
stir.
you gotta get this. Look at this. This is great. Make sure you hold your dad's phone right above the boiling water.
And we'll be back in about 15 minutes to add the last hops and some Irish moss. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes and our Centennial hops has been boiling. We're gonna add our very last set of hops, which is Cascade hops, along with some Irish moss.
Was Irish moss in there already?
It is.
Poof! Look at that.
So that's our last hops, and it's going to boil for 5 minutes, and then we're going to chill the wort down as quickly as possible. So we've got our wort chiller over there in the bucket. We're going to get that prepared, and we'll see you back in about 5 minutes. Okay, so the final hops and the Irish moss have been boiling for 5 minutes. We've got the wort chiller in the wort. We're going to take it off right now, and we're going to do a fast cold crash on the wort. And here we go. So you can go turn on the case. Chill. Okay, so our wort chiller is in our wort. It's trying to cool it down. It's going to take 15 to maybe 30 minutes to chill it down to below 80 degrees so we can pitch our yeast. But as you can see, it's in the pot. The water's circling through the copper pipe. And once it gets down below 80 degrees, we'll go ahead and put it in our fermenter. We'll see you back in about a ½ hour. Okay, so got the first temperature check. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes, and so far it's cooled down to 120. So we probably have at least another 10 minutes, 15 minutes to get it below 80. So we'll see you back in just a few minutes. All right, so we have our wort chilled down to below around 75 degrees. We're going to now put it in our fermenter. So we're going to pour it from the wort cooler into the fermenter, and then we'll aerate from there.
Careful.
All the marmalade.
Look at that. That's nice. You got the rest. Do it. There you are.
Okay,
Now
so we're
we
going to
wait.
let that drain, and then we'll be back with you shortly, and we'll do our aeration. So we got our wort chilled down, and we've dumped it. We strained it through a strainer, and it's now in our fermenter. Right now you can see we've got probably just a little bit under 3 gallons. We need to fill it up to 5. So we have our pre-boiled sanitized water in this bottling fermenter. So we're going to add water to get us up to 5 gallons. And the way the water drops in is good for aeration as well. So we're going to let that fill up to 5 gallons and we'll be back with you shortly. So now we're going to get our gravity reading, our pre-fermentation gravity reading. So we have our hygrometer in here and it looks like we're at 1.18. So our pre-reading is 1.18. Okay, so we're going to do our aeration now. We have an oxygen tank down here connected to a little aeration stone. We're going to sanitize it first, and you can look in here and see all the bubbles it's making, so we know it's working. We're going to get this tubing completely in the sanitizer. And then we're going to do about 30 seconds of aeration in our tank. So Jesse will tell me when 30 seconds is up. Once this is done, then we're pretty much set. I'm going to go take this into the room where we're going to let it ferment for the next 7 to 10 days. And once I get it set in that room, I'll pitch the yeast, and then that's where we'll let it sit. So we'll see you back in a few minutes. So we have our fermentation bucket in a nice cool corner of the house. It's going to stay between 68 and 71 degrees. We've got our wort chilled. We're going to dump the yeast, pitch it across the top. There we go. All of our yeast has been pitched. So we're going to seal this up nice and tight. Tight. We heard it all click. Tight. And then we're going to take our blow-off tube. So we have the preformed aluminum blow-off tube. We're going to stick it down in here into a solution of our sanitizer water. We're going to put it right into the bung. And there is basically our airlock. So now we're going to wait about 10 days and we will start bottling. So we'll see you in video 2 in about 10 days.